Hey y'all, so I'm back with another client. I had a senior client come in yesterday, and she let us know that she's been having some difficulty maintaining her hair since her grandkids left to go to college. And she's been, just really struggling upkeeping her hair. She actually has such nice long hair, but you can't really see much of it based off of how matted it was. So I decided that I wanted to go in and actually detangle the head before doing what she asked, which was a big chop, because sometimes, and I noticed this because this was my first time using clippers with this client, but when I used clippers on my dog, I realized that when they have any sort of matting and then you just try to either cut it off or clip it off, the under parts, it kind of looks like patchy, and I knew she wanted to go low in the back, so I wanted to ensure, she could have the most seamless look possible without being able to tell that she was severely matted at the start. That is the reason why, because I had a lot of people inboxing me asking me like, oh, why didn't you just cut it off, And I also wanted to be able to have as much flexibility with the style that she wanted to achieve without taking it all off. So when you cut hair, you can't get it back. So if you can save some, for some time, just so you can have as much creativity and flexibility with your style, that's kind of the best way to do it. So now that we're fully detangled, I'm going to go ahead and start sectioning off the parts where I know she wanted to keep length. Even though she didn't want necessarily a bang, she wanted her curls focused in the center. I did go around and part, I would say, at the eyebrow, like the tip of the eyebrow. That's kind of where the partings started, and just pulled that up so I could section that part off because I knew the back part was going to be the lowest. So here I am just measuring out, seeing that, everything is where we want it to be. So yeah, let's chop it up. And in this case too, guys, I didn't do one of those like, are you ready? Because I just feel like it's already kind of like a stressful situation. Sometimes you never know what people are going through. So you never know the reasons why they really want to cut their hair, even though she explained to me, sometimes people are in depression. Sometimes they can't do it physically. Sometimes they don't know how, or sometimes they just don't feel like, So always be mindful of that and try to be respectful, because during this appointment, I realized that this client, she was she was apologizing, she was very apologetic. And one thing you never want to do, say if your client is coming in with a scalp issue or they're coming in with something like this situation where it was matted, you never want to make them feel uncomfortable or embarrassed, because sometimes they already are having their own type of feelings. So it's as best to be respectful as possible. So when I say that, I mean, try not to make faces, realize that they're still a person and just that they might be in a tough circumstances right now. So after we detangled most of it and I got kind of a pre-cut, I just caped her up and we headed to the shampoo bowl. And I wanted to make sure that she got a very good condition and shampoo. I had a cocktail of some clarifying shampoo and some Mazzani hydrating shampoo. So I just went in with that, saturated her hair. And I wanted to have this, like I said, be as relaxing as possible for her, because I know it wasn't easy for her to come in. That was a hard step, but a big step that she took. So I just wanted to, make this as relaxing as possible for her and make this a good start to a new journey for her. So I did give her, some massages. She told me she wanted a little bit more pressure, which was good because I really wanted to get her hair clean. And now that she's all clean, if you look at the hair, you can see there are a couple of different textures, because previously she did have a relaxer, and she let me know that she would have been okay with leaving wet, just putting a little bit of say mousse or composition or something like Nairobi, setting mousse, and just brush through and have her natural curl come through. But the difficulty with that is that she had a couple of different textures because she's growing out that relaxer. So it wasn't a fresh relaxer, but it wasn't old either. So in some places she had different texture than usual. So I let her know that instead of leaving wet, I was going to have to mold her down and put her underneath the dryer. And then after that, I was able to brush her all out so we could start clipping. And this was kind of like my first experience using clippers on a human. Like I was telling y'all earlier, I've been grooming my dog, for the past 4 years. So I wasn't that uncomfortable with the clippers, but I did change my guards a couple of times just to get kind of like a feel for the depth and stuff on the head. And to be honest, y'all, this came out really good. She loved it. And I really loved it as well, especially the back where it was like tapered. That's like one of my favorite styles. Like when I see like a low haircut, I love to see like a nice gradual hair, like from a nice edge up to like gradually like longer hair. So, and that was the look that she wanted to go to. So that was like a perfect thing for my first time using clippers on a human. So right here, we went a little bit lower. And I swear, y'all, every time I would cut the hair, she would just be like, yeah, I want it lower. We can go lower, And I just was glad that she was like gaining like, the confidence to be able to be like, yeah, like I'm really loving this short cut. I can even go shorter. So after I got it to her desired length, I just went in at the top and I curled the top hairs with a pencil flat iron. And I also sprayed some of the Design Essential spray mist to give her more of a shine. And even though she didn't actually leave wet, she was still able to achieve that kind of shiny, wet look while leaving dry and set. And here's the final look. A few people replied to my story and just said, wow, like, she just seems so much happier. She just seems like a weight is lifted off of her. Just her aura, was like coming through the phone. Beautiful. And that just made me feel so good. I was just happy that she can go into her birthday just feeling like a new woman ready for this new start of her life.
Ooh. Miss Jane.